Good evening, my dears. This is just a maybe short video recorded without proper lighting because the best videos are impromptu videos. I was just sitting down this evening to have a cup of tea. I thought maybe you'd like to join me. This evening's tea is hibiscus. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but it is a lovely pink color. You will not be able to see it because if I tilt it anymore, it will definitely spill. I just got this lovely wolf cup in. It was a gift from my aunt for my birthday, which was actually just a few days ago. She happens to know that I happen to really love wolves, in case that wasn't apparent. So it's possible that there may be a little bit of light traffic going by, the odd siren or something like that. I'll try to edit out anything that would be too distracting or unrelaxing, I guess. But like I said, mostly I just felt compelled to share a cup of tea with you. If you like, you're welcome to brew a cup of tea of your own. You can enjoy some hibiscus, as I will be in a moment. Perhaps some Earl Grey tea, if you'd like to liven things up. Some Zen green tea. Chamomile. There are many different kinds of teas, and I find that every one seems to be very good at helping us to relax. So brew up some tea, pull up a chair, and just allow yourself to sink into whatever space you're sitting in, laying in, reclining perhaps. There's nothing to do right now. Nothing you need to say. For a little while, it's just you and me and a cup of tea. The birds have begun to return. It is the beginning of spring here in Portland, and it's actually been really lovely. Things have begun to bloom. There are some, I'm not sure if they're hibiscus or magnolia outside. Big bright deep pink flowers. I think magnolia are white. I love being able to trace my fingers over the grains in the wood. Although interestingly, this table is got a pretty straight grain. Some here. Though there is a seam that runs the length of the table. Which creates a really lovely design. Well now, have you gone and gotten your tea? Excellent. You can see this. Looks to be a grey wolf. Although mostly it looks like he's composed of yellows and whites and blues. This beautiful watercolor composition. Those big yellow eyes. Let's have a sip, shall we? Something about a hot cup of tea. It just fixes everything, doesn't it? One thing I really like about hibiscus tea, besides the brilliant sort of fuchsia color, which I will try to show you if I can bring the level down a bit more, is the sort of sweet tang that it naturally has. And I think it's incredible that just from steeping some flowers, you can get something that's sweet. What a treat. So hibiscus tea, if you don't already know, first of all, tastes delicious. But also is really good with working with the heart chakra, helping to facilitate sort of a willingness to connect helping to dissolve any of those um, heart barriers that we may have, and just kind of bringing us to a bit of a state of ease internally, especially if we have been hurt before, because obviously when we feel hurt, our heart chakra can be affected if it's in a relationship context. It tends to be that it feels pain and it kind of closes. It may close, it may slow down in its spinning. Yeah, that's nice. It may feel heavier, feel clouded. It may be that it puts up some walls. And basically, it sort of does this so that it does it so that it, in an effort to sort of help protect you, protect itself. And while sometimes, sort of clotting a wound can be helpful, sometimes we can sort of accumulate those sort of toxic beliefs or negativity, and those barriers that were once meant to keep us safe can sometimes prevent us from actually connecting with people, and especially people that are safe, or opportunities to be vulnerable from a place of integrity, a place of sort of being willing to open your heart, and connect, empathize, be empathized with. So, I like to drink hibiscus tea, particularly if I am working on developing feelings of connectedness, but also anytime, honestly, that I have any kind of self-care day, or I feel like I'm just feeling stressed, or I don't know, sort of upset, or like I haven't been able to, whether it's that I haven't been able to take care of myself, or I just need to give sort of my inner self, my inner me, a bit more reassurance that I'm here, I'm listening to my heart, and I care, and I'm trying to do the best I can. I like to have some hibiscus, because I feel like it's so important to be in communication with your heart. This looks like a heart right here, doesn't it? Or at least half a heart. And it also helps me to remember the ways that I am connected to other people, to loved ones, to nature, to animals. I think it's really beautiful in that way. Hibiscus can also be really good with connecting the heart chakra with the sacral chakra, which is just about where your belly button is at. That has a lot to do with pleasure, pursuit of joy and happiness, moving towards things sort of intrinsically that feel good, not in an effort to move away from things that feel bad. That's, I feel like, might have a bit more to do with the third chakra, maybe actually all of them. But when in alignment, the second chakra is very much, that feels good to me, and it's a natural flowing towards sort of motion and energy. It also has a lot to do with sexuality and sensuality, and that sort of creative flow of energy that comes in, that can come up from the earth through our bodies and down from our higher self, and sort of ping back and forth in this kind of life force energy. And where you choose to direct it is up to you, but that sort of current of vitality and creative energy really, I feel like, channels through the sacral chakra. So especially if you're in any kind of, I would say anybody who works with creation, which is everyone, because we are all intentional creators. We're unintentional creators. Especially anyone in sort of creative fields, artists or writers, architects, dancers. So, and it's good at really connecting those two, right here and right here. Connecting those chakras together and helping them to communicate more effectively with sort of, healthy sexuality, but also healthy sort of energy interactions when we're interacting with other people, and developing sort of healthy intimacy at the end of the day. How we're able to express our own personal joy and energy, especially create energy with other people and in our relationships, whether or not that be with a partner or just with a friend or any other person. So, and it has a lot to do with that sort of fostering of trust. So, again, I really like hibiscus tea for a number of reasons, and it's delicious also. Let's have us another sip. Let's see if we can see now. Perhaps not. Blame you guys if I spill it. So I'd like to do just a quick exercise, breathing exercise, as I find the more we're aware of the breath that we take in, the more we can sort of be just helping to facilitate awareness, both within our body, within our thoughts, within our energy. So I'd love if you would join me. We're going to breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, out for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4. We'll do that maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 or 4, depending on how it feels. So when you're ready, breathe in, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, good. Now again, we're gonna breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, good. I'm gonna do that one more time. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do that one more time. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, release, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. You did a great job with that one. I find sometimes, especially when I get stressed, my breathing will sort of hold up here in the chest. It doesn't really go down into the belly, which is where it should be. You should be breathing from your belly, they tell me. But a lot of times when we get stressed, we almost forget to breathe fully, and we kind of get stuck in the chest without bringing it down. And when we do that, it's just, we then are not really breathing in as much conscious awareness, energy, and attention as we could be. So when that happens, I feel like if you notice that you're short of breath, just taking a few minutes and doing exactly what we just did can be really helpful in just kind of redirecting your awareness to sort of giving yourself your best shot, honestly, and saying, okay, well, let me be a little bit more aware of the energy I'm taking in and try to really, oxygen helps to kind of both enrich the blood, both. It helps to enrich the blood, bring a bit more of consciousness to your body, and just help you to have, on a scientific level, have a bit more capacity for cognitive functioning, which allows you to focus better, and then it also allows you to direct your focus better, so that if you are doing any law of attraction work or any mindfulness practices, you're able to a bit more consciously direct the flow of your attention and your energy. So I always think it's a really good practice to just, when you notice that you're getting a little up in the chest, you're sort of bringing your attention back to your breathing. So while we're enjoying our tea, I want to take a minute to talk about gratitude. And I don't mean gratitude in the way that a lot of people will tell you that that word means. I had to find that out for myself. I don't mean gratitude as in this sort of yielding up of oneself of, oh, you were kind to me, I'm eternally in your debt, or any of that nonsense. What I mean specifically, or rather I feel a lot of, at least in American culture, for me, I'm in America, so in American culture, there is this sense that if you receive something, you're in someone's debt. And that's not what I'm talking about. And I feel like when I originally heard people talking about gratitude, what I took that word to mean was, what are you grateful for? It was sort of the emotional signature that I had attached to it was like, ooh, I don't deserve this, or oh, like, thank goodness that I have this because I would be a piece of crap without this, or I need this too. It was this sort of feeling of yielding yourself up, and that you didn't deserve it. And honestly, it took me a while to recognize what the problem was. For me, the word itself, gratitude, held some of that emotional vibration for me, maybe just from Thanksgiving dinners. But that's not what I'm talking about. When I say gratitude, I want you to think of the feeling of reveling in beauty, the feeling of, for me, appreciation would be closer to the mark to say, what do you appreciate? But I started changing my gratitude lists from saying, I am grateful for blank, to I appreciate. And that helped me to kind of be able to notice things in my environment that even if my circumstances weren't great, I could say, well, I appreciate that regardless of what's going on, I have a nice cup of tea. I appreciate that I have a cup of tea. Or I appreciate, I can still recognize the beauty of, or I still think it's really cool that, we have internet. That's incredible, is that even if something is stressful outside or inside, or, especially in times of transition or times of stress, there can be this feeling of not necessarily, focus gets skewed quite a bit because it might feel as though you're struggling to focus positively, especially when things feel dangerous. And while we may not always be able to control when our car breaks down, for example, we might be able to notice that we at least broke down on the side of the road and not in the middle of in the middle of the street. Or we might be able to appreciate that we got to pet a cat while we were waiting for a tow. Or there are just things. It doesn't mean that it makes everything better. It doesn't mean that you are, you should be grateful for this, or like any of that nonsense. It just means that regardless of what you're observing or what is going on internally, and not in an effort to get away from that, but just still being able to appreciate elements of beauty, of abundance, of awareness around you, of connection. So I actually for a while started titling my gratitude pages with, I think it's really cool that, fill in the blank. Because I noticed for me that kind of held that more of an emotional signature of, wow, I like that. Wow, it's awesome that this thing is, in my room or is going on now. And even if it's just something simple, like, it's really cool that I have potatoes in my fridge. And I'm psyched about that because I really love potatoes. It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be, but just, So I wanted to talk about gratitude just a bit because I wanted to kind of dispel this kind of feeling that in order to like things around us or appreciate things around us, we have to somehow have suffered to deserve them, or that we are now in someone's debt. And that's not what that should feel like at all. If it does, then there's something else that is at play. But I think, especially in times of transition or stress, it can be really, really helpful to just note what we are in abundance of, positive things that we do have an abundance of, whether it's, lots and lots of butter in the fridge, or, as much fresh water as you want, or an abundance of Pokemon cards. If that's something that you like, you can notice that. And allowing ourselves to notice the things that do feel good and right and that we appreciate around us, so that we can focus and put our attention on what is going well. And again, not at the exclusion of, I'm not saying to push away your emotions. I will never to push away your emotions or anything like that, but sometimes it's just helpful to be aware, especially if we're feeling unsafe or, fear, to be able to look around for what we appreciate, and what we are grateful for. It's like acknowledging fear or loneliness or sadness and allowing that emotion, not pushing it away, but just also with your, like, if your mind is struggling to find things, just noticing things that you appreciate. I found that having practice of writing a gratitude journal first thing in the morning helps set your day off on a good foot, and last thing before bed helps to raise your vibration up just enough while you're sleeping, so that it helps you to start the next day on a little bit of a better foot and a little bit of a better foot. That's done wonders for my mental health as someone who has struggled with a number of mental health struggles. I have found that has been one of the most impactful practices for my overall life path and healing. And I think the more that we look for the things that we appreciate, the more we're able to notice them in real time, And the easier it becomes to allow more of that into our day, into our lives, and really into our hearts. So I'd like to just take a minute, and if you want to just think of 3 things that you feel grateful for, that you appreciate, or that you think are pretty cool. Could be in your room, could be going on in your life right now, could be just something that you appreciate in general. And I want you to think of them one at a time and just sort of hold it in your mind for a moment. And you can say sort of internally, I am grateful for, or I appreciate, and then fill in the blank. And I want you to really focus on feeling that. Feeling the presence of that thing, the appreciation of that thing. Even if it's something small, again, it can be a cup of tea. It can be that you have a cat that you get to pet. It can be having some rice in the cupboard, if that's something that you feel grateful for. The color red. So I want you to just take a minute, and I want you to think of that first thing. Say it internally, and really hold that for just for a minute or two. Good. Now I want you to think of a second thing that you might appreciate, feel grateful for, or just think it's pretty cool. And take a minute, think. When you have it, I want you to do the same thing. I am grateful for, or I appreciate. And then just allow it to sort of soak in. Good. You're doing excellent work so far. Now, take a minute and think about a third thing that you feel grateful for. I am grateful for, more I appreciate. And just let it soak in. Good. I want you to take a deep breath in and let it go. You did excellent work today. Well, thank you for joining me for some tea. Still warm. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time and place you find yourself. And remember to just, as you go throughout your day, remember to just breathe, okay? You can do this. I believe in you. Have a good night, my friends, and thank you for joining me for tea. Till next time.